So, hello everyone, I'm Philip. It's been a couple of years, but I've been roped into giving the opening talk again. This is the 12th edition of FOSDEM, and this year we actually have a second building where Tias is pretending to be me and giving this exact same presentation, but without a couple of subsections. So I'd like to welcome you all to FOSDEM, but before I'm allowed to welcome you, I should say something about this building we're in. It doesn't belong to us. We just borrow it for the weekends. It actually belongs to the Université Libre de Bruxelles, which is one of the many universities in Brussels. And this gentleman owns it, and he would like to talk to you for a couple of minutes and tell you about it.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, I'm really pleased to welcome you all for this huge event. At the Université Libre de Bruxelles, Free University of Brussels, we all are really enthusiastic about this conference. This event will gather more than 5,000 developers discussing and working together on free open source software, showing us the power of open source projects. I remember when this event was a much smaller one, called FOSDEM, at the beginning of the 21st century. At that time, many of our professors didn't understand the importance of that initiative. I remember one colleague of mine, I will not reveal his name, calling this gathering, I quote him, programming under marijuana form. All the open source defenders will then find themselves one day confronted with this kind of contempt. However, just looking at the list of key speakers of this conference clearly demonstrates the seriousness and usefulness of open source software and technologies. All the major firms in the IT sectors are now developing open source departments. Free open source software allows technological development that can be matched with by the paid teams of huge firms. Android and its Linux kernel is a common example, but there are thousands of others. From the Firefox web browsers to more complex specialized programs. Nowadays, everybody uses at least a part of software that was once developed freely and published entirely. Maybe it means that we are all marijuana smokers now. From the CEO of IBM to the university teachers. More specifically, open source software and technologies are necessary to develop universities, research, and education. However, the universities sometimes tend to underestimate this crucial need. The fact that this conference is taking place on this campus, in this university, is for us of great symbolic importance. We must fight against this tendency that dominates the academic world to patent every single piece of code. It undermines badly the developments of science and is a great threat not only for universities, but also for the entire society. We must resist to the mermaid's song of software editors when they swear that they'll never make us pay for what we developed. It is never true. Today, every university in the world is paying for programs and routines that were once freely developed inside our labs. In other words, universities are using public funds to pay private firms owning publicly funded patents. In these times of economical crisis, implying huge cuts in public expenditures, it seems such no sense to me. So, thank you, all of you. Thank you for joining this great and free event, despite the freezing cold and the snow, demonstrating that open source free softwares and technologies are crucial and need to be developed and protected from the greed of some short-minded persons. Your work during this weekend will help the universities all over the world to develop new research projects. Without you, we could not work efficiently. All the university researchers, all the university students are your own. A special thank also for the organizers of this conference for doing such an amazing work freely and with an incredible enthusiasm. And last but not least, thank you for your kind attention during this extremely long speech. Have a nice forum. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. I also remember about 10 years ago, the same person. Our interactions with our kind hosts have improved a lot over the years, and I hope we can add another 12 years to our existence here. Thank you. So, FOSDEM, yes. This year, we seem to have gone and exaggerated some more. We have 273 hours of scheduled content in a weekend, which is just a little bit insane, since there's only 156 hours in a week. So if you're trying to see everything, I'm afraid you will just have to give up, because it's not going to happen. We do have a very nice video team, which is videoing many or most of the presentations, so you can go home and watch the other 270 hours, which you won't be able to see during the weekend. This year in particular, we have, I think we used to say we had 250 talks. It turns out that it's more like 420 talks. So we'll adjust the t-shirts. There's markers at the info desk if you want to change them. Yeah, we have 4 keynotes this year. They are all in this room as usual. Yeah, today we have right after me Robert Duer, who's going to speak about Ada Core and how the free software model is very good for his business and how he feels that other companies should be doing the same. Later on this afternoon, we have Simon Phipps coming to talk about the new evolutions in the open source movement, in particular how they're reforming their organization. I think this is a very exciting announcement. Tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, we have an extra keynote this year. We have Lars Versenius talking about distributions and how we should rethink them a bit, because the current model is quite old. And then tomorrow afternoon, Bidel Garbi is going to talk about freedom out of the box, which is a presentation which ties in neatly with last year's opening talk given by Ibn Moglen about the freedom box. We have some main tracks. They are in this building, the J building, and they're also in the K building, which I will talk about at length in a little bit. Today in here we have the keynotes until I think 1 or so in the afternoon, or possibly 2. And then there's the hypervisors track, which is very exciting. In your booklet you'll find who is speaking in it. And then in the K building there's the future of UI track today. There's a nice big room, not quite as big as this one, but almost as big. So I think you should definitely go over there and listen to the future of UI if that's your thing. Tomorrow in here we have the system track and the development track. Again, the talks in there are in your booklets. I can't possibly remember all the talks we have at this conference. The network and I/O track are in the K building, and there's a community track there too. So the K building, you should definitely try to get there. We have developer rooms. Developer rooms have traditionally been, I think FOSDEM started with them, and now every other conference is picking them up. We don't own them, but we feel everyone should do them. They're spread all over the campus a bit, so you'll need to use your skis and find your way around. The J building is where we are now. The H building is a very long, dark corridor over there. AW is across the ski pist, the slope on the other side of the road. The K building is a little way out of the way, and the U building is, as usual, you go under the building and then into the building, and you just follow all the signs pointing at things which are clearly FOSDEM-y. That's today. Tomorrow we change dev rooms a bit, but they stay in the same buildings. So as long as you find your way around these buildings, you should be happy. Again, despite the fact that we have 2 rooms giving the keynote, this one is quite full. The other one is probably also quite full. So the chance that developer rooms are not going to be full is practically 0. So if you see this sign on the door, please don't enter, because otherwise our good relationship with ULB is going to go downhill very quickly if we set their buildings on fire. So let's not do that. If the room is full, don't go in, follow the stream, or ask your friends inside to tell you what the talk was about. Well, try to show up early if there's a talk which really interests you. If something bad does happen, we do have a Red Cross presence here. They are upstairs in the cloakroom. We've not put them there. It's the best place to put them. If you need some help, we have lots of people running around in yellow t-shirts and in orange t-shirts. They can, well, if you need carrying, they can probably carry you, but if possible, try not to hurt yourself too much. But if there's a problem, we can probably help. So I'm not sure if anyone passed the info desk. Lots of people tell me they haven't found the info desk. It's over there somewhere, and we have nice booklets, and someone promised to give me one, but I haven't got one. It tells you everything you need to know about FOSDEM. It's portable. You can carry it around with you, much like a laptop, but it consumes no power, so it's unlikely to run out of battery. If you need to know where something is happening, there's a nice map on the back. The map also has some possibly correct venues for where you might get other lunch than what we provide here at the event. We have fast food, and only fast food, I'm afraid. It's all out in the parking lot over there. You might have to look a bit under the snow, but there are Belgian frites. We have pizza, I think. We have even got a vegetarian option for those who like it. If you get hungry, that's where you need to be. We also have caffeine. We feel this is important to point out, maybe more for the benefit of the organizers than for the visitors. In addition to last year, we have 2 bars. We have a second bar in the building just north of the H building. I'll point it out on the map in a bit, which is a very comfy bar, and someone has brought a real coffee machine, so you can get coffee instead of this brown water, which some people call coffee. As I said, it's more comfortable than the other one up there, and there's also more space. So if that one looks full, just plow through the snow, and there's coffee at the other end as a reward. So that's, not sure if my pointer, that's actually here is the place. So I mentioned we have a new building this year. I should point out that there's a number of ways to get there. You are here. The other building is there. You might find it tempting to go this way through the car park. If you do this, you will fall and break something. So don't do that. So go out the front, either go outside the building or go through the H building, and then you can go through the bar here, stop for some coffee on the way, halfway, and then wander across to the K building. And the entrance, there's 2 entrances. There's one upstairs, where the arrow is not, and then there's one downstairs where the arrow is. If you like a long walk, you can walk to the end of the building and then walk around there. There are signs. But I suggest you stop halfway for a coffee. That's good for you. This building is all new. We haven't had it before. So we put a new info desk there. They don't have t-shirts. The t-shirts are all at the H building info stand where they usually are. But we do have stands up there. We have 2 sets of stands. We have the stands on the ground floor of the building, which is just beyond the info desk and on the back. And then on the second floor, or, well, the first floor, which is labeled the second floor, there are more stands behind the auditorium, and there's also a couple more entrances. So if that room is really full, try to use all the exits rather than clogging the really tiny one downstairs only. There's also a second and a third floor, which are labeled third and fourth floor. This map is actually 90 degrees rotated with respect to reality. Walk upstairs, you will wander on the right, and then on the left are 3 rooms, and those are the developer rooms marked K.3 mumble mumble and K.4 mumble mumble. But the building only has 4 floors, so you can't go higher than 3, which is labeled 4. Important things, I see a bunch of laptops, but you probably found out already. We have network availability. Of course, it has IPv6 for those who have still not gone IPv6. We also have legacy connectivity. ULB has kindly provided us glass, which runs between the buildings, and we make use of it. Belnet has very kindly let us use their uplink. They are the Belgian academic network, and Cisco shows up with this huge truck of hardware to make all the bits go into the cables. So use the network. Last year, nobody used any bandwidth, so try to download some Git repositories, mirror GitHub on your laptop. Use some bandwidth. Use some IPv6 bandwidth, that's very important. The video team are the people behind you waving at you. They've asked us for more volunteers because they have more cameras than they know what to do with. In particular, they're looking for video operators and mixer operators. If this is something that excites you, you should talk to the gentleman in the hat or any of the people who look like they might have something to do with video. You can also prompt them on IRC, and they will be happy to hand you a camera and make you do something. Finally, last but definitely not least, FOSDEM is a free event in the sense that you can show up and pay us nothing, and we entertain you for a weekend and give you 273 hours of content. These are the people who pay for all this. Lots of familiar names there. O'Reilly has been our main cornerstone sponsors for years. Josette has books with her again. Please don't make her go home with her books. She doesn't like that. So go out and buy some O'Reilly books. I'm sure you have some room on your bookshelf. The Mozilla Foundation I will talk about in a little while. They have given us lots of money, and some other people too. And then all these other fine sponsors, Google, I think everyone knows. They asked me to point out that there is a Google Summer of Code again this year, and you will find people with Google t-shirts wandering around who would love to tell you more about it. So I'm sure we have some Summer of Codes alumni here. You know what the deal is. If you want to do it again, go and talk to Carol or to another Googler. Who else is on here? Cisco and Belnet obviously providing our network. Linux Professional, they are doing the exams again. If you have signed up already, they should have told you where to go. If you haven't signed up already, they are bringing some extra exams. So if you just turn up before an exam session, they're all listed in the booklets. You will be allowed to take the exam last minute. Qualcomm and Riverbeds are both technology providers. They provide fancy equipment for people with networks and people with small networks in their pockets. And then Codeplex is Microsoft's open source repository. They also host open source software, a bit like GitHub, but different. HP has hardware. They've given us money. They were planning to give us gadgets, but that didn't work out this year, unfortunately. But thank you to all our sponsors. We love you. We'd like to hear from you again next year, or you'll hear from me again next year. Mozilla was a bit special this year. They did a program, the Mozilla Foundation did a program of grant giving, and suddenly we were quite surprised. Money turned up in our account from France. We were looking for a name, or did we send an invoice without remembering? We sent some emails out, and it turns out Mozilla has kindly given us some money. They've also given some money to these other organizations, and it's a very nice program of grants, and we hope that the other recipients enjoy this grant as much as we do, and we'd like to thank Mozilla in particular for their contribution. I think Tristan is somewhere hiding. There he is. So thank you. I think, yes, give the sponsors an applause. Thank you very much. And I think that leaves me out of exciting things to say, which gives you 10 minutes to Caffeine and gives me 10 minutes to get Robert's laptop working, and then I will hand over to the keynotes. Thank you.